Right, so I'm hoping that you should all be able to see now.
Yes.
So, brilliant. There was a time that I was constantly in and out of hospitals. I'll never forget one particularly large man. He'd fractured his leg and he was talking to one of the nurses. His recovery had undoubtedly been compounded by being overweight and being immobile, not moving enough. The nurse asked what would be the first thing he would do when he got his cast off. I was somewhat taken aback by his reply. His reply was that he would go to McDonald's. So I'll go to McDonald's for a chicken sandwich meal. That's healthy, right? Now, I was frustrated. I hear all these things going on in my head. Why? Why is he doing this? It frustrated me that his priority, despite having been in hospital, was to go to get a McDonald's. Now, although the choices he made, the foods he ate, and the inactivity in his life may not have caused the injury, they did nonetheless increase the recovery time. And he believed that having that chicken sandwich meal was a healthy choice. But sadly, he's not alone. In the UK, there are some 15 million or more that have chronic diseases. 63% of all UK adults are classed as being overweight, and half of which live with obesity. Now, I could talk statistics all day long, but I don't want to do that. I want to talk about actions that we can take in order to change this. We're bombarded by information on social media, news, in magazines, and by so-called experts pushing increasingly extreme ways to diet and to exercise. But they're often making things far more difficult than they need to be. As a teen, I was a sprinter for a local athletics club. I had one particularly good coach. And the reason why he was so good was that he kept things simple. With other coaches, I would struggle to keep up as they jumped from one style of training to another. But he kept it really simple. Each session, he would work on the same elements, building upon what we had learnt in the last. There's a proverb, which I absolutely love. Feed a man a fish, you can feed him a meal. Teach a man to fish, and you can feed him for a lifetime. My goal is really to teach people the fundamentals. It's not hard to make things simple, but what often makes things so confusing, particularly with nutrition, is that there are so many diets out there. Nowadays, we see new, often extreme diets popping up every day. And I hate to admit it, but they work. And the reason they work is they focus on a few set principles. One, they're more structured than we would normally eat, and they come with more thought and planning. Two, they often eliminate processed foods plus one major macronutrient, whether that be protein, carbohydrates, or fat. And if you think about it, the moment we say that we're going on a diet, our thought processes start changing. We start being more cognizant about what we're doing. We are more mindful of the type of foods we're going to eat, what we're preparing, and what we're putting into our body. We start paying attention to what we're doing. And by doing this, what it means is that we're eating less calories. We consume less calories, we lose weight, our health indicators improve. The problem is ultimately that often it is a quick fix. It happens overnight, and we can quickly find out that we end up yo-yo dieting. Yo-yo dieting works because we go up and down and up and down. It creates boundaries that in the long term aren't sustainable. The moment that you have a chocolate bar, a glass of wine, an unhealthy snack, you failed. And you failed because you're not doing the things that you're supposed to be doing. And then you do it again and again and again, to the point where ultimately you're no longer following some of the good principles that were there with a diet. Some of the good nutritional principles that the diet is setting out and hoping or trying to instill within you. So let's simplify it. To lose weight, we need to eat less and move more. It's quite simple. You move more than you burn. I'll get that right. You move more than you consume, sorry. Move more than you consume, you're going to lose weight. Move less than you consume, you're going to put weight on. It really is quite simple. It's this weight loss balance. We have to put less calories in than we're burning. So let's prioritize foods with lots of fiber, oats, grains, fruits and vegetables. Let's prioritize healthy fats from nuts, oils, seed and fish and avocados. If you want to eat meat, that's completely fine. Let's just make sure when we do it, there's a wide variety of all the different meats that we're consuming, as there is with all the other types of food. We want variety. We want variety in what we're eating. Now, sugar. We can all have sugar. This is my son. This is son when he very first had this scone. Now, that size of the scone is nearly as big as his face, and that's fine. But we need to think of these foods as they're a treat, and they're a treat because they're a good thing. But just because it's a good thing doesn't mean we need to have it day in, day out, all day long, all the time. So let's just use that old principle of moderation. I'll never forget something that my grandmother used to say to me. She used to say, Christopher, I'll only have a light dinner as I had a big lunch. So let's do that. Let's go back to that phase of moderation where we are more mindful about what we're eating. If we've had a lot to eat for lunch, maybe we have a slightly smaller dinner. If we've had a big weekend, maybe for the first couple of days of the next week, we scale it back a little bit. Trying to be a bit more intuitive about what we're doing, and think about it, instead of it being a 24-hour window in which one thing's going to tip us over the edge and it's make or break, we just extend that period of time out just so we can balance that nutrition in as we're going through. We often eat those salty, sugary snacks sat in front of TV, on our laptops, watching our mobile phones. In the UK in 2020, the average screen time spurred on by pandemic lockdowns was 5 hours and 40 minutes. And there was a cost: inactivity. We're not moving enough. We have a lot of things that are designed to set us up to sit down for very long times. Now, worryingly, the #1 predictor of death is low cardiorespiratory fitness, aka the sitting disease. In short, we sit too much. Now, we can all go for a dog walk, but quite possibly, I don't think this is really the type of dog walking that we should be doing. So we need to get out more and move. I'm not saying to go and do a marathon. I'm saying to get out there and maybe move for 30 to 45 minutes a day. Walk your dog, ride a bike, go for a swim, go for a walk around the block. Maybe even start at 10 minutes, then 15. Then 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening. But ultimately, get moving and do it frequently. It's no good to walk for 15 minutes, then sit for 9 hours straight. And for those of you or those other people out there that say they cannot afford 15 minutes twice a day, yet find the time to scroll mindlessly through social media, you have your priorities all wrong. You have a choice: make time for fitness and exercise, or make time for illness. So that's it. This stuff really isn't rocket science. It's about making mindful choices of what we're putting into our body and making the time to move. When you instill this stuff in small steps, they do not become chores, they become habits. So let's go back to the basics and keep it simple. We do not need to go to extremes, and there is no such thing as a bad food. We just need to be a bit more moderate in our approach to what we're going to consume. So that's it. I thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me. My last comment would be, stick with the fundamentals. Thank you.
Wow.